Welcome back to another Conquerors crew. Have I got a guest for you? Uh, Former police lady and minister, badass and troublemaker. I couldn't even wait to do the intro part. I got a whole intro thing planned out, guys. And hey, welcome back to the Conquerors crew. This is a special episode, and I've got a special guest, and that's why we're doing it today. Drenda Thomas Richards is our guest today. And did I say your name correctly? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you did.
It's a unique name. And like, I don't like it when people call me Brent, or Clint. I'm Trent. So there was a guy named Brent in high school. Me and him didn't get along. So some stuff like that. But anyways, I kind of open up the Conquerors crew. And for those people that are the first time, I just like to just take a minute and I kind of just lay the groundwork and set the stage, kind of like the vibe to go kind of before us. And we talk about our three pillars. And if you are one of our normal guests that come on, you probably need a reminder, at least in one of them, something, right? So the first one is pretty easy. It's hope. And for us, hope stands for helping other people excel. And, it always seems like when you just don't have any hope and you can just muster a little bit to just give a little something away to somebody, that it comes back to you a lot easier and faster and quicker. And it kind of seems like that with everything. I don't know. It's like one of the laws of the universe that I've noticed, And so if you can muster a little hope and even share it when you don't have any, I think it comes back to you even better. So, excuse me. And then we have grit, and for us, grit it's an acrostic as well, and for us, the G stands for grace. Now it's pretty easy to have grace with others, right? We kind of do it. We kind of goes along with even what you talk about, but I'm talking about the grace, like, don't be so hard on yourself, grace. Like, give yourself a break. And that's kind of some of the grace I think that you do some coaching in. And the R is for resiliency. And, I've had cancer 3 times, and people are always like, oh, I could never do what you did. You rise to the occasion. You know that too, Drenda. And you don't start out running an Ironman. You have to train a little bit. I think everybody's got some of the inherent skills, and you just don't wake up and one day you're just this resilient Superman. It just doesn't work like that. So the R is for resilience, the I is for integrity, and integrity. The integrity, I'm not talking about the integrity like, oh, hey, you're the one, yeah, you're breaking the rules. I'm talking about at 3:00 in the morning when you're up and something's got you worried and you look yourself in your mirror, and are you having integrity with yourself? That's the integrity that I'm talking about. And then being teachable, right? We want to be teachable. And it seems like if you are, we're probably, I feel like I'm just going to I'm not going to tell you all, but like, half a century or something close to that. And God, it seems like the more that I feel like I know, the more I realize I really don't know. And I don't think we ever stop learning. And the old thing, right? And you think you're too big, young, you're high horse, then you get knocked off of it, don't you? And then the last one is no grit. So hope, grit, and no quit. So, hey, thank you for letting me do that intro. I always kind of just do that for a couple of minutes and lay the groundwork. Thank you for being here. How's your week going, Drenda? We'll just kind of ease into this. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
It's been a good week. It's I'm starting to batch record some new podcast episodes, so I'm excited about that. And it's just the weather's been great, and it's just been a good week so far.
Cool. Now, I read up on your website and about you. Amazing story, so skilled, lots of stuff. Mainly a ladies coach. I think you kind of work with ladies more than men. But hey, I think you could do it all because you were a police lady. As you say, a police lady? Is that what you say?
Police officer, cop.
Police officer. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did not see What part of the country you're from? What
I'm
state do you live
originally, I'm originally from West Texas, Lubbock and Abilene. Currently I live north of Houston,
in? Okay.
so I'm still a Texas girl. Although I've lived in California and Arizona.
Wow.
Loved living in California. It was
Okay.
beautiful.
Cool. I'm originally from North Louisiana, Shreveport. So when I graduated, moved to the big city. The big city was Dallas. So I lived in Dallas, and that was about 2000. And I remember, I mean, we used to go there as kids for Wet and Wild and Six Flags and stuff like that. My first real job, the first 100 days, it was over 100. I'm like, it's hot in Louisiana, but it's really hot here. So. Um,
Yes.
I have an aunt and uncle that live in Austin, and so I've been down to visit them recently. Nothing but concrete, man. Nothing but concrete.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. So that's cool.
Houston is very humid, so I'm enjoying the nice, cooler, less humid weather right now because it's not going to last much longer.
No doubt, we are blessed with like the land of the swampy people as well. Like, I mean, it's like your towel is not dry from about like April till about October. Like, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's Houston's kind of like that. I worked in Houston for a couple of years as well. So
the cool thing about Louisianans or Cajuns is that they know how to party and have a good time. They enjoy life, and everybody could take a lesson from that.
You know what? Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I'm more of kind of redneck-ish, because I'm closer to Arkansas. But all of my best friend lives in New Orleans. My cousin lives in Lafayette. I got friends and family, down there from Shreveport, Bossier to Alexandria, all the way down to just gee whiz. My buddy's got a camp on Grand Isle, the southernmost point. Like, great fishing there, wonderful fishing. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, Port Fourchon has some great fishing down there.
Oh yeah, okay. Like, yeah, we're not talking to somebody that's a rookie. Now, have you been to New Orleans and as like a tourist and like done that?
I did years ago. I haven't been back since after the flood and the rebuild.
Just a random question. Now, as a police officer, did you ever get assigned to go work in events like that? I'm just kind of a random wild question.
We didn't have Mardi Gras or anything like that, but we did have one of the presidents come and visit. So I had to do some presidential duty, some security detail, things like that, which was kind of cool. It was different.
Cool. That's cool. So, man, I've got this cool intro that I really want to read about you to kind of just give people a little bit about who Drenda Thomas Richards is. She's been called a rebel, a badass, a troublemaker, and a life changer. Worked in nonprofits and Fortune 100. A former police officer and an ordained minister. That's a mix, man. What a mix, huh? And a subconscious mind expert. This is really cool. We got to talk about that. So all your life experiences have made you who you are, and I can tell. And you have a little kind of a lingo about like you got to let go of the BS, right?
Yep.
And when we say that, we think, but you mean
beliefs and stories, but a lot of the beliefs and stories are the other BS.
Exactly. I love to play on the words, and kind of how I introed. I was like, I really like this. Yeah, this is cool. So how did you kind of come up with that idea, that concept of the BS and put that together? Did it just kind of happen, or were you brainstorming with, I don't know, your friend or your husband or something?
It just kind of happened. I mean, I had been in a transformational coaching program where they were always talking about beliefs and stories and how they control our lives, that they start early on in our childhood and we don't even realize that they're running and making decisions in our adulthood. And so just going over beliefs and stories, and I'm like, well, most beliefs and stories are a bunch of bullshit. And so how about we just call it what it is? It's BS for, polite company, and it really is the other.
Yeah.
when you're just being real. So it all works together.
Yep, I fully agree with you. So, which one was first? What was the police officer or the minister first, or
Well,
together?
so yeah, I was a cop first. I was raised. I had to stop and think there for a minute. I was raised in a preacher's home. I'm a PK,
Okay,
so there was always that.
right.
And then I went to college and went buck wild. Ended up on scholastic probation for the first time in my life. I was in danger of being kicked out and not having good grades, which that was something new for me. I mean, apparently you have to go to class. And so I wasn't doing that a lot because I was spending most of my time in the clubs and partying.
Right. Yeah.
So I came home, needed a job, started working for the police department as an admin, and I worked in the narcotics division. And they started taking me on raids with them. And they used to send me to the front door to get the door open so that they could rush in. Now, nobody asked me to sign a release or anything. I just thought it was fun. Now I think back and I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? But so I was doing that. I was having to strip search the strippers and stuff, but I wasn't getting paid like they were. And I said, well, I'm going to do this. I want to get paid. And so I had to wait until I was old enough to go through the police academy, went through the police academy and did all of that. And then I did that for 7.5 years, worked patrol. And then I was like, I'm tired of this. I want to do something else. I want to make money. And long story short, I ended up in Houston. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? Because I started grad school and then I was like, I hate school. What am I doing? So then I had to find something to do. And it was all during this time that I had made a deal with God that if he truly existed and truly loved me, to give me some signs. And I said, here are 3 things and you need to do it in the next 30 days or I'm not doing this. And so he did 2 of them, like within a couple of days. And so, but I said, if I become a minister, I'm not going to do it like everybody else. And so I found street ministry. So I was going to Mardi Gras and doing a bunch of street ministry, I worked in San Francisco, working with transvestite prostitutes and working on the streets with drug dealers and stuff. And I never had that message of you're going to hell. Is more like you're loved and God still has a plan and a purpose for your lives, and just loving people right where they were. Yeah. Started a strip club ministry in Houston, did that for 20 years where we took gift bags to the dancers. Wow. Just prayed for them because a lot of them wanted prayer and their grandma wasn't around or grandma had died or whatever. And we just loved the girls right where they were. Some of them got out, some managers got out. It was really cool. And through all of that, somewhere in there, I got ordained with a motorcycle ministry. My husband was in motorcycle ministry. That's how we met at an outreach. Cool. I was doing an outreach at a low-income housing project, and the motorcycle ministry came to help to show off their bikes and bring toys and stuff. Yeah. That's how we met. We didn't hit it off right away. And so from there, I did some ministry and all of that stuff. And then and quite honestly, there came a point several years ago where I was just like, you know what? I'm just kind of tired. I don't want to do church. I'm not going to do church anymore. I still love God. I still love Jesus, but I'm done with the whole church BS, all this stuff. And so
the people, right? It's kind of the people.
Yeah. It's the people. It's the people. And I know you're not supposed to look at people and all that stuff, but there were a lot of things that I had questioned growing up as a kid and nobody could answer it. Right. And it was in those processes, asking those questions, I was called, you're a Jezebel, you're rebellious, stop questioning authority, all of that stuff. Sure. And that was just because they were losing control. They wanted to keep that control. It was a very high control religion that I came out of. And so I was just done with that. It had kept me quiet. It had kept me monitoring things that I said. It was so filtered, and I couldn't be true to myself and what I felt I was in my heart. And so I don't do that part. I don't do the church thing anymore, but I still believe in God.
Yeah.
and I still have a relationship with Jesus and all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I also, there's some woo there as well. And so,
Sure, man. Absolutely. I'm I'm probably a little bit like you that my folks are wonderful examples, and they go to church, and they're every Sunday, and they do the thing, and I've done that on and off through my life, but and I did the college thing. I partied my ass off and had a great time and did that for a while, but I always kind of had something going with God. I always had something, and I think the people like that are not judgmental and can go to the stripper club or to the motorcycle rally, and you can blend in and you can be with those people, or like kind of like me. I'm like, dude, if I'm watching the football game, I'm gonna have a beer, okay? And it's not like I'm not gonna have 10, okay? And I'm not gonna get drunk and drive home. I think those are good examples. Instead of nothing at all, I think like that's so stiff. You're never gonna reach some of the people that really need that want to be reached, right? Because you're in this group and you want, it doesn't cross over. So I think it's like I just like to kind of just try to be moderation. Just, because I'm either usually in or I'm out. And that's kind of something I try to be. Is just, hey, just, a little bit of everything, and be open-minded. I've traveled probably 40 something countries and worked in like 7. I'm a citizen of New Zealand as well. I had a business down there, and then the cancer thing and all that. But, open-minded, right? This world is big. There's a lot of people here, and we don't do everything the right way all the time. I'm like, you know what? You kind of like the way you guys do it. I'm going to do it that way now, so.
yeah, for sure. There's a whole lot of other beliefs out there that actually support being kind and accepting each other right where you are, instead of judging you and ostracizing you if you don't believe what they believe. And which one is more Christ-like?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe, that the devil's in the church because us human beings are. And you know what? We're pretty carnal. I mean, get down to it, we're pretty selfish. We kind of, like if somebody's not looking, we'll cut corners, right? I mean,
We'll cut you.
I mean, hey, I'm just being honest, right? I mean, we're just a regular old human being like everybody else, not perfect. And when human beings get involved, it just isn't perfect, is it?
Yeah. And I find it funny that, a lot of Christians don't talk about witchcraft and all that stuff. But there are a lot of people in the church that when you're not doing what they think you should do, they'll say, I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to pray for you. And that's basically Christian witchcraft. They're placing a spell on you. Right. It's just under the guise of being a good Christian. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I see that point. I mean, spelling. Mm-hmm. Have you heard that? Cursive, writing cursive is a curse. And, there's a lot of things about, language that I've, kind of been down a few rabbit holes, in the last year. And then I really kind of like, wow, a lot of the stuff that is starting to come out, I think, a little bit now in the news and stuff, little by little, not too much too fast, because some people, man, they can't handle it. And some people just don't want to know,
Yeah, for sure.
And I get it's their choice. So,
yeah. And it was like the church, one of the things, don't question authority. And that goes with you through adulthood, and you don't even realize it until you're in a situation like my husband was walking around. He thought he wasn't feeling well one night, and we went to the doctor after a few days, and they said, it's the flu, don't worry about it. So a few more days passed, and he hasn't gotten any better. And the doctor was like, oh, it's this, it's hepatitis, it's something else. And 2 weeks he went by with this, and what happened was his appendix ruptured, and he walked around with a ruptured appendix for 2 weeks because I was raised, don't question authority. And that's the day that I learned, when they nearly killed him. We finally got to a hospital, but thanks to another doctor. But it was in with that tradition of not questioning authority, my husband could have died. And so that was the day that I started questioning doctors. I don't give a shit how many degrees you have. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't feel right, I'm asking the questions. I'm documenting what you said, documenting everything. And, then my mother goes into the hospital and I'm questioning all of them and, being her advocate. And I'm sure you've dealt with that as well.
Absolutely.
It's like
all the time.
You have to question authority because people make mistakes, sometimes intentionally, but most of the time it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
And if you're not there to catch it or question it, people can die.
Well, you get left with the consequences, right? They go home and eat dinner and pay for their kids and drive around their nice car, and you're stuck without a leg, or you're disabled, or you got a permanent disease or whatever. And I'm with you. A lot of people that are my generation and a little bit older, we do. I mean, we did. Well, I was private Christian Southern Baptist school up into 8th grade. Like, dude, like this, no drinking, no smoking, no cussing, no radar buoys, pretty strict. And, our parents were like that because it was disrespectful.
Yes.
But you know what? If you do it in the right way, it's not. Yeah. And if people don't like it, if I want to get a second opinion, from the doctor, and I kind of mention it to them, I do that sometimes to test them to see how they are, because if they've got a problem with it, they're not for me. Now that maybe for you need to decide, but like, I want them to go, oh yeah, bring somebody else on. More heads are better than 3 are better than 2 or whatever. And hey, I'm confident in my diagnosis, and get it backed up. Do it. Like, listen, because if it was them, they would.
Absolutely, they would.
And I did the same thing for years and years. I almost gaslit myself, not on fire, but to the point where I almost killed myself. With cancer, and listen to the doctors and listening, going like, I'll just do this. I'll just do it one more time and I'll be fine. And one day, finally I had hip, lung, and then pancreatic. The pancreatic, you're done, 5% chance in it. Yeah. And I looked in the mirror one day and I'm like, you can't eat. You're on milkshakes. You're in New Zealand all by yourself. It's COVID. You're alone. We're locked down. Mom and dad can't come. They've given you a year to live. Like, dude, you better make some changes and figure this out. Because, I had a friend that took his life a little bit before I got cancer. That was so tough to watch his parents. And then my brother's best friend as well died of cancer like 6 months before I got it. And we had to bury him. And I'm like, I can't die on my parents like that. I can't do it. It's not an option. Because I was fine with it. I was like, you know what? Like, just ship me home in a box. Like, seriously, I'm not coming home. I'm not going to bankrupt the family. I'm going to die. I mean, let's just be real. It's going to happen, right? Nine doctors tell you that in 3 weeks. It's like, well, and I just kind of had like one of these moments, and I'm like, whoa. I'm the quarterback here of my life, not your life. And I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I want your advice. But it's not the end all be all, And so that kind of was my thing. And that's what I do now, right? Cancer coach and patient advocate. And yeah, man, I get in there and sometimes, hey, I gotta be the bad cop.
Yeah.
But don't care.
No. It's only right, because you get in those situations, and when you hear a diagnosis like that, the fear automatically jumps on you, and that's all you can hear and feel is just fear. And then the doctors intentionally or unintentionally prey on that, and they try to scare you into, if you don't do this, you're going to die, or if you don't do this, it could come back, even though you have 4% chance of it coming back, but you still have 4%. And it's like, and part of it's money. Part of it is their traditional education, the Western education, where we just throw medicine at everything. Yeah. But it's just that fear. And unless we can get control of that fear and overcome it and release it, it's hard to make decisions through that because you've got all of that BS. You've got all those beliefs and stories.
Yes.
You see all the stuff on social media. You hear what the doctor's saying to a point. And until you can release that fear,
Yeah.
you you don't know what to do with the next step. You don't know the next step. You just do what you're told because, well, they're the experts.
That's right. I feel like when you're under pressure, you can't like I feel like the pressure in a way it kind of like constricts like your inner voice or your Holy Spirit or whatever your consciousness or whatever you want to call that. And that pressure like then you can't make a sound decision, if you will. And so, man, I would always like, look, don't rush me. They're like, well, you only have a limited amount of time. I'm like, actually, I got as much time as me and God said that I do. And they're like, you kind of crazy, aren't you? I'm like, I like to say crazy good doc, but yeah, I'm crazy, and what else can they do, And I came home and thank God I found some people that wanted to be on my team because they just kind of are we can't do it with you anymore. Done. And I think there was some hanky panky stuff that went on. I had a misdiagnosis surgery. They cut out half my spleen and pancreas on an accident. Oh, I'm sorry. Just some craziness. Yeah. So, but hey, it's not about me. We want to talk about you and your stuff and everything. And I want to ask you, so, okay, I'm just kind of putting this together a little bit. So you worked administration, and then you went to school and you became a police officer. You did that about 7 or 8 years, and then you did the ministry thing for a while, and then you met your husband around and like about kind of how long have you guys been together, if you don't mind me asking, or when did you guys meet? I'm just curious. Kind of put some timeline, just roughly.
So I waited until I was over 40 to get married.
Good for you.
I tell you how long I've been married, you'll know how old I am.
Oh, well then, okay, then just
it's been a while.
Fair enough. Hey, it's all good. I've never been married. Still not. You know what? I was married to my business. Yeah. I mean, that sucker, that was enough. It's like,
yeah.
So, but hey, you know what?
Yeah, there are days when I think, you know what? I still wasn't old enough to get married. I mean, there were, I just wondered.
Really?
There are still some things I had to learn, but there are a lot of those lessons I've learned through being married and having a relationship.
I love that.
So,
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I am sure that you have an awesome dude. I just bet he is just something, man. I can just imagine that. Do you guys ride motorcycles together, or do you ride on the back, or do you have a bike?
I ride on the back. We got rid of our Goldwing, and we bought slingshots, or we've had a couple of slingshots, and then got rid of those. And now he has a bike that he says I can ride on the back of, but it's not a Goldwing, so I won't be riding on the back of it. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's very outgoing. I'm more reserved and an introvert. And so I was like, I need somebody like that. So when I go to parties, I won't be a wallflower, but we go to parties and he goes off and talks to everybody, and I'm just a married wallflower now. So yeah, he's still the life of the party, and I'm there.
You do more of like kind of you do more like have the one-on-one conversations, and you get into some yeah.
I go deeper with people, or I want to go. I don't like chit chat and just I'm not good at that stuff. But if you want to go deep, I'm your girl. So let's talk. Let's get to it.
Cool. Well, okay. So I'm kind of building up to like did you have kind of like a bit of a midlife crisis kind of thing when you kind of had this epiphany and you took this this coaching transition course? Was that kind of can you lay out the situation for us?
Yeah. So it was around COVID. It wasn't related to COVID at all. It was that I I was at a place where I felt like I'd been doing the same thing over and over and over, and I wasn't getting anywhere.
Okay.
I felt like I was sabotaging my best efforts, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why? What's going on here? And so I took this coaching program, transformational coaching program, and in it, that's where I learned about the power of the subconscious mind. And I already knew that how powerful our minds were, but I didn't really know and understand that. And it was through that that I learned about hypnosis. And of course, being raised in church, hypnosis, oh my God, you're opening your mind to the devil, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but am I? And so I was dealing with some money issues. I was like, I made money, but it was like, it never seemed to be enough. And so I was trying to figure out what that was all about. So I went to a hypnotist, and working through that, it was a lot of the beliefs from my parents had been handed down. Like my dad said, people with money are show offs. Well, I didn't want to be a show off.
Right.
And so those things that were said to me as a kid or said around the dinner table had unknowingly taken root. And they were calling the shots when I'm in my 40s and older. And so it was like, and so through that hypnosis, I was able to release that BS, those beliefs and stories. And so when I realized how truly powerful and life-changing hypnosis can be, I became a certified hypnotist. Cool. And started offering those services for a while. I still can use it. I still do use it at times, but it's so powerful. But that's what gave me the knowledge and the expertise or whatever with the subconscious mind and how it is controlling our decisions today, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later.
I got you. Isn't something like, I correct me because I'm probably going to butcher this, but like I read something that by the time you're 30, you're basically like 90% on autopilot, that your subconscious you're on automatic. You think you're really making decisions and doing stuff and everything, but you're not. I mean, the decisions you're making is which toothpaste I'm not going to use. Okay. You're going to brush your teeth, right? Yeah. It's that kind of thing. And if you really want to change your beliefs, you have to get down in there. And it has to do with the theta waves and the beta and you kind of have to be in a bit of a trancey thing. Some people would kind of say, right? How did you tell me about getting certified as a hypnotist? Like, did you go to a class or tell me how you did that.
Yeah. So the woman that I did the hypnosis with, she is a teacher. She's a certified teacher, and she's also with some organizations. And so I went through her training program that was, I don't remember how many hours long. And so I went through that with her and was certified through that, and also with the Hypnosis Association, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I had a guy on a while back named Matt Johnson. He's an NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, I think, program. And hypnotist. And he was in California, out hiking with his family, slipped on a rock, hit the back of his head, and had like this massive concussion. And it didn't kill him, but he had migraines and headaches where he couldn't be in the light or sound. He had to wear headphones, and he had to black out. He blacked out the not the attic, the basement. And he lived in it's like 2 or 3 years. And like he couldn't go to family events, and I was like, what did you do? And he's like, dude, I was just miserable. I lived in the dark. I didn't lost my job. And he said, my dad quit smoking after like 30 years, and he went to a hypnotist one time, and I'm like, there's something to this. So he went, and now he does that. And I've taken a few like his NLP courses, and they're kind of like, can I describe it like a little bit of like self-talk with affirmations but you kind of even get into a little bit of like, I mean, into a bit of a lull kind of state, if you will, for people that don't really know. And I think that's where you have to get to if you really want to change your BS, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is that for those deep seated, deep rooted issues. Sometimes it does take something like hypnosis to put you into an altered state. Um, but there are just some things that if you just become aware that
Yes.
that thought is there and you stop it and you question it and you go back, I mean, not judging it, but just being curious about, well, that's interesting, wonder where that came from. And then you can just kind of go back on your own without having to go into a trance for some things,
Sure.
and a lot of things actually, and just realize that came about because a teacher put a frowny face on my paper and I felt like I couldn't do math anymore. Or my dad said to me, "Why are you so stupid? Why can't you get this?" Kind of thing. And it's just something like that can take root.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be that one. Can you hear the dog?
Yeah.
I'll cut that out. I don't know. That's just whatever. But that's my best friend. So I'm gonna give her some grace. I'm gonna get you great. We're gonna talk about some grace here in a minute. But I mean, that's it, right? You had a coach that said something to you, and you hang on to this one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually shapes your life. And you know what? They aren't even in your life anymore.
Yeah.
That's like holding a grudge about somebody, about something. It's like, dude, I don't even care because like they forgot about it. It's like the doctor that misdiagnosed you. He forgot about it 2 days later. Because and if you don't forget about it or you don't deal with it, it's on you, man. You're really hurting yourself, right?
Yeah.
And hey, life ain't fair. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And there are times when, somebody might have said something and you took it a totally different way than what they meant and you just twist it and you can make up a whole story. I tell a story like, so you text a friend and they don't respond to you right away and you're like, oh, they must be busy. And then 30 minutes to an hour later they still haven't, and you're like, well, what's going on? Why haven't they responded? And then the more time goes on, you're like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that girl? Why isn't she responding to me? Who does she think she is? And then it goes even longer and you're like, I don't like her. I don't even know why we're friends. And you just blow this whole thing up.
right.
And then you go into, maybe she's in a ditch, maybe she's dead, maybe she's in the hospital. And then you kind of cycle through all of these. And then all of a sudden you get a text and they say, and you started all of these stories and you've built up all of this crap. And then they text you and say, hey, sorry, I left my phone at the restaurant and I had to run back and get it. And you're like, oh, no, that was nothing. I didn't think everything was okay. And you've just built up this whole story.
Yep.
And you hated them and we're going to stop being friends with them. And it was all a bunch of BS. It was just bullshit that you made up, and it wasn't even true. And how many times do we do that about everything? We talk about people in traffic. They cut you off and you're like, that mother, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
What if, and that's something I have to remind myself, what if they're rushing to the hospital because their dad is dying and they got to get there before he dies? What if that's the reason? And then all of a sudden that stress goes away and you're like, that's fine. And it's like, and then there's a part of you that says, well, no, they're just assholes and they cut you off. And you're like, but I don't know that either.
Yeah.
It could be. And what story serves me better? The story that he's an asshole and I want to go after him, or the story that he's got family dying or his wife's having a baby and he's trying to get there? Which one serves me better?
Exactly.
And when I do the one that serves me better, suddenly that stress is gone. I'm not angry. I can just relax and continue my drive on. And it totally changes your day. It totally changes the atmosphere. It totally changes your energy when you tell yourself stories that serve you.
I love it. The thing that I kind of do is I'm football. I'm a football guy, and the cancer thing was so heavy that I kind of like, I got to turn this into a football game. and that's what the people that I work with, I mean, it's mainly, I mainly work with guys, and we do the football analogy. I'm like, dude, you got to call a timeout. Come over to the sidelines. You need to look at the field. Like, look at what the other team's doing. Look at what the players are doing. And hey, you may need to go sit in the stands for a minute and watch the game, right? Because then you do that thing where you say, then you become aware. And once you're aware, you can decide you're going to fix it, or you're going to run from it, or you're going to face it, or you're going to just
let it go.
Yeah, right. But that's half the win right there, is like having that ability. When you start doing that in the beginning, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me step out of this. Let me take myself out of this and look at this. Or let me put myself in the other person's shoes. And you begin to do that. And I think that is such a life, like, growing skill, if you will, that I feel like I do it all the time. And it just helps me so much go like, well, because if I know why, kind of like you were saying in the car thing, if they cut you off and you feel like you know why, it kind of makes it a bit like reasonable, or just in your mind with your brain's like, yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. So I just, you let it roll. So, well, this is so cool. I'm having such a good time talking to you. This is fun. This is good. Now, do you consider yourself do you do any kind of NLP stuff, or I'm not even sure kind of is there a difference? And I've got that. And then do you believe in like daily affirmations? Do you do that?
I don't do daily affirmations. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I think that if you're going to do the affirmations, it's more than just saying it, that you have to feel it. And there are a lot of people who say, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, or whatever, for example, but they're not feeling it. And all they see is their empty bank account, the bills stacking high. And so there's a disconnect there. You can't say I'm rich when you're still feeling poor.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to change it to something that your body can agree with. So maybe you say, I don't have money yet, but I know it's coming. Well, then your body and your mind and your mouth can all be in sync.
Yeah.
And then that opens the door for possibilities. That opens the door for opportunities. Yeah. And that opens the door for that money to come to you without you blocking it just by feeling, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like it's not true, whatever. So it becomes expansive instead of restrictive.
I love it. After about 9 different surgeons told me, like, you're not going to live a year, you're going to be dead. And I'm very practical, and I'm just like facts, and I'm like percentages. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, line up 100 people on the firing squad, and you're probably not going to be one of those 5, dude. You're not. And it took me probably 9 or 10 months, and I worked really hard to be able to, like, when doctor would say something, I'm like, Doc, no, sir, I'm going to be, how many have you had make it in 5 years? Like, well, I've had 1. And I'm like, well, you're going to have 2 because I'm going to be the second one. And I could say that like with confidence, but I had to actually keep telling myself, and you know what, your brain will believe whatever if you keep telling. So I knew that if I kept saying it to myself, that it would happen, that I would begin to believe it. Because the thing for me was like, like one of your friends when you were younger, like a teenager, and I was like, man, I'm just never going to meet nothing. I'm just going to be a loser. I'm just going to lose her. They turn into a loser. Why can't a winner turn into a winner? Why can't you say, I'm a winner, turn to a winner? And that's been my whole thing the whole time. And I'm like, I talked myself into believing I was going to be cancer because I didn't believe it,
I truly believe you can speak things into existence.
I do too.
Both from a biblical perspective as well as from what some consider the woo.
Yeah.
The life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
And you've proven that. Your life is that. And we do speak things into existence. Words matter. Words matter in contracts, words matter in your life. And you talk about what you hear. So faith comes by hearing. And so what are you listening to? That's one thing. But you also listen to yourself more than anybody else sometimes. And you're hearing those words coming out of your mouth. And what's coming out of your mouth is going into your ear. What's in your ear is coming out of your mouth. And so there's this loop. So what are you saying? What do you want? If you don't want gloom and doom and despair and sickness, then start speaking life and health and vitality. And as you do that, you start hearing it, and then you start speaking it more, and then you hear it more and you speak it more. And then it starts coming into existence. You're a perfect example of that.
Yeah. 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 I just love it. I love it. I am so on the same page about that. And have you studied much about like frequency and that kind of stuff? Like it's really amazing. About kind of we're all like we're energetic beings, and I am big on grounding, and like I'll even go hang out and touch the tree, and I got linen sheets, and I drink a copper cups. Some of those things are a little bit woo woo, but you know what? I think a lot of it works if you believe it works.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. That's working, or you're speaking it into existence, or it's all working together. Yeah. And we're beings, and we do have frequency. And I know that there are certain frequencies to listen to for focus and different for meditation and all. I don't know the exact ones. I'd have to look it up, but I know that frequency matters. And that if we're vibrating, we can vibrate at a higher frequency, and the highest frequency is gratitude, or one of the highest ones is gratitude and love. And if you're operating at that, just things come to you without even effort, really. Yeah. But if you're down here in bitterness and anger, you're repelling everything. And that's a very low frequency. And you don't want to, sometimes you're stuck there, but you can crawl out of it and start operating at a higher frequency where things can be magnetized to you.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think that you magnetize. So if you got doom and gloom and sadness and all that, if I've got that going on, I just try not to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, because then I just get myself all hyped up, and then I just tell the whole environment, the whole universe about it. And I'm like, you know what? The devil can't hear your thoughts, right? That's kind of how I like to do it. He can only hear what you say out loud, right? And so that's kind of the game I like to play, with myself. Like, it doesn't really register if I don't say it out loud, right? And I know that's not totally true, but because your thoughts do. They are things. But I think that when you speak it out, it's like, okay, now you've told everybody. And then if you write it down, it's like, that's why you sign a contract for a house, and you don't say, yeah, I'll take that house. Because you can't do things on your word, because you got to do it on. And I think that makes it even more, if you're like serious, you write your goals down. Like, I have my vision board, and I went and I cut out all these things, or I made a couple designs on my Canva or whatever about the things that I wanted. And I look at them every day when I get up. It's the first thing I see that, and I'm like, am I working on any of that today? Some days I don't. Some days I just want to watch UFC and do nothing because I need a break. But I got to see those things and speak them out and feel them, and it's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah, I heard somebody once say, probably a couple of people say, if you get a bad diagnosis, or something bad happens to you and you're feeling overwhelmed and scared, give yourself 7 minutes, set a timer, and give yourself 7 minutes to just get all of the gunk out, to get all of your fears out, get all of your questions out, get all of the anger, the resentment, get it all out in 7 minutes, and then get a plan to move beyond that.
Yeah.
At the end of that 7 minutes, you've done kind of a brain dump, and you can think more clearly, and you can come up with a plan to move forward and not stay stuck.
That's great advice. I love it. Is there anything, we're kind of just jumping around on a lot of things, which I think is so cool, and I think people are going to find it very valuable. Is there anything that we kind of, any subject or any part of your life or anything that you do you want to talk about that we haven't talked about? I mean, yeah.
I think we've talked about a lot of things.
Yeah. It's been good. Been real
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I have a story of when I started going to the gym.
Okay.
And it's kind of what we talked about earlier. I started going to the gym and I was very overweight and out of shape and all those things. And I didn't want to go, but I knew I needed to go. And so I was in the gym one day and this young couple, they're probably 18, 19, were in there, and she was doing nothing. He was working out, but she was just sitting there on her phone, and she had started staring at me. And so I'm doing my workouts and I keep seeing her staring at me, and I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
I'm already uncomfortable, and now I know somebody's staring, and so I'm even
Mm.
more uncomfortable. And I'm telling myself, all these things are coming into my mind. And so I go to a particular exercise that is extremely awkward, the hip thrust. It's extremely awkward to get into place, especially if you're new at it. And I was struggling and I looked like a fool and I wasn't getting it right. And I saw her looking at me and I was almost in tears and I wanted to just get up and leave the gym. And then I was like, okay, Drenda, put your money where your mouth is. You tell everybody else how to do this. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I looked at I said, okay, I don't know what she's thinking. She could be thinking, wow, look at that old lady over there. I hope when I get to be her age, I'm working out just like that. And I was like, yeah, I like that. That makes me feel a little better. Or maybe she's thinking, I wish my mom would work out. Or I wish my aunt or my friend, I wish my friend would work out no matter how old they are.
Yeah.
And so instead of crying and running out of the gym, I finished my workout and I walked out of there feeling stronger, feeling better about myself. And then the voice comes and says, you don't know that she was saying that. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know that she wasn't saying that. So what story am I going to tell myself?
Right.
Or one that's going to make me not want to come back to the gym? Or am I going to just say, you know what? I don't know what she's thinking. So I'm going to say she's thinking this. And that's what I did. And I felt good about myself. I still looked awkward, whatever. But I still did it and I felt better and I left and I'm still going to the gym a year later. And it doesn't matter what people, if they look at me, I don't give a shit because it's not about them. And I can make up whatever story that I want that serves me, that makes me feel better because I don't know what they're thinking. So why not tell a story that serves me?
Yeah. You build your narrative.
Yes.
I love it. You get to choose it.
You
right?
get to
You
choose.
get to choose it. You get to choose to have a good attitude or bad attitude. Yeah. Go ahead.
You always have a choice. And that's something that I recently realized is that I was raised, you made your bed, you got to lie in it. That's a lie. That's BS. I don't have to lie in that bed. I can get up. I can change beds. I can get a new bed. I can change the sheets. I can do whatever I want. I am not stuck. I can make a different decision. If I made a decision and it didn't come out exactly like I wanted it to, or I got a different outcome than I expected, just make a different decision. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there are so few things, that we do that are like permanent and you can't back out of.
Yeah.
Right. There's just a limited number of real decisions that you can make. Everything else is pretty much like forgivable and like, change. You can change or just like, oh, I'm going another direction. And people don't even care, and there's only a few kind of like unforgivables. Right. And most people don't even get close to touching those. So
nobody cares.
I
get a mulligan.
Quit being so hard on yourself.
Yeah. Right? Give yourself some grace.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, we're at about like 50-ish minutes. And I want to ask you, like, tell us like your typical client. Like who do you kind of work with? And just kind of give us a little bit of like maybe your target market. If anybody's listening or listens later, they're like, do I want to talk to you? Yeah. Well, sure you want to talk to Drenda. If you want to talk to her, you need to talk to her.
Yeah. Yeah. So So I'm doing a couple of different areas. So one area I'm speaking to is corporate America and people that are in transition, either through AI, anxiety, disruption, layoffs. I have my own layoff story. Um,
Okay.
all of that area. So that's with corporate America. I also speak to early career. I'm speaking at a university in September about failure, reframing failure. It's making failure can be your secret weapon to success. That's a fun topic for me. Um, I'm also talking about anxiety and stress and how to face the holidays. So my audience is really somebody that's in a transition, whether it's from because of work or it's because of a certain birthday and you've suddenly become invisible. Women over 50 realize that, or they suddenly realize that. It could be through a divorce or any kind of thing that is unexpected that you got caught, your life is disrupted,
Yeah.
and you're like, you know, kind of stuck and not knowing where to go and worried that you're going to make a wrong move. And that's who I speak to because it's the beliefs and stories that are keeping you stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like we have a few people on the line. Like if you hear this later, you know what? And you're like, I just need a breakthrough. I know that I just need that little tweak in my formula. I just need something to help just kind of get me over the line. And you have that feeling. Well, please reach out to Drenda and contact her. And how's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you? Because I know on your website that you can like have a discovery call or can we work together thing. So tell us how people do that. It's the easiest way and all that.
Yeah, so there's a discovery call on my website, which is drendathomasrichards.com. Also on Instagram, Drenda Thomas Richards. Also, I have 2 podcasts that are going to be launching in June, probably the end of May, 1st of June. One is called Let Go Sunday. It is weekly meditations. So, as we're going into the work week, we usually are dreading going into the work week. Well, what if we changed that and started setting our intention on Sunday for the week ahead? And that way we're moving forward with intuition and intention instead of inertia and dread. And so they're less than 7 minutes long. There's no reason you can't listen to them on a Sunday when you're getting ready for the work week, or Monday morning when you're pulling up in the parking lot, or anytime really. They're good anytime. That is called Let Go Sunday. It's relax and own your week. The other one is more about the beliefs and stories. It's called Change Sucks, Thrive Anyway. And those will drop every 2 weeks. And those will be talking about all the various BS we have. Every 4th or 5th episode will be a work edition. And so those are probably 20 minutes for solo. And then I'll be interviewing people 45 minutes to an hour or so as well. So you can also catch me there.
Dang. And you have a book on Amazon and Audible. So if you're like me, you don't like to read, you can listen. And tell us what the name of your book is that you can get it on Amazon or Audible, guys.
Yeah, and I actually read my own book. So that was fun to do. It's called,
neat.
Dare to Remember, Uncover Who You Were Before the BS.
Cool. And I assume it's a lot about what we've been talking about today and some of your tools and tips and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I also have another book. It's called Badass Babes of the Bible, and it's a retelling of ancient stories, but with modern wisdom. And it also encompasses and includes a lot of this BS stuff as well, and applies it to those stories of women from the Bible, and not always the ones that you're used to hearing about. So it was fun to write.
Can you get that one on Amazon as well?
Yes.
That is so cool. You know what? I think I'm going to buy that one for my mom.
Well, it comes with a warning label because I actually wrote it for people in the adult entertainment industry. I was going to a trade show for strip club owners, and I've been to them several times, and I give away gift bags and stuff. And I thought I want to give them something that they can actually use that could help change their lives. And so I wrote this book in a month and gave it out at the expo in Miami a few years ago. And so it comes with a warning label because there's some cuss words in there. And I had so much fun writing it. And it's not your typical Bible study book or anything like that. And
Cool.
I'm very happy about that.
I think that just sounds so cool, man. I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna check it out. I'm not gonna sit here and promise you I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna go through it, and I'll buy it for my mom. She'll read it, and she's gonna tell me how cool it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we got your website, DrendaThomasRichards.com, and I'm just curious. I know Thomas Richards. Is Thomas your previous name before you're married, or?
Yeah, so Thomas is my legal name. It's my maiden name. Because I got married so late in life, I didn't really want to change it because I was known professionally as Thomas. But out of respect for my husband, when I write and do these other kind of things outside of corporate America, I use Richards to honor him. So yeah.
That's cool. I love that. What a great story. I'm glad I asked about that. And so, guys, Drenda's on LinkedIn for Drenda Thomas Richards, Instagram, Facebook. Guys, got her podcast going on, her website, her books. Hey, it's been a pleasure to have you on today. Is there anything that you'd like to say that we missed, or a point, or a topic or an event or anything?
I think we pretty much covered it. I just want to thank you for having me on here and just for sharing your life, because your life is also your life story is an encouragement to me and so many others. Even though I've never had cancer, there are things that I can learn from your life. And so I appreciate you sharing all of that and just being an open book. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. Hey, you know what? That means a lot to me. And thank you so much for that. It's hard work being a coach, and I don't know, but I'm a one-man band, and so I do all of my, my website and all. It's hard, isn't it? It's not easy to do all this stuff, and you don't get thanked often. People don't really realize it's pretty lonely, but
and I still have a corporate day job, so I have limited time. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, if that's it, I'm going to take us out. And so, hey, God bless, Godspeed to you all, and never forget that grit don't quit. We are out.